Giovanni Escobar, why do you move?
Whew. Why do I move? I guess for a purpose. I feel like that would be the best way for me to put it. I've been doing it for so long, I feel like it's more a part of me than anything else. So my mom gave me the flyer and said, "You're overweight. I need you to move."
Oh, shit.
Yes. So I pretty much started dancing, performing. That was the first thing I did, was performing. The most important lesson I have learned, especially in a dance setting, fundamentals are key. And it boils down even to our personal lives and things like that. Just the basics, just getting down to the basics and the fundamentals are very, very important. You can tell how good a dancer is by their basic step. The most advanced dancer just wants to really hone down their basic. There's two things you need to do before you even move. You need to count, and then you need to find your music.
Hopefully you count up to 8 right now.
Hopefully up to 8. You can even miss numbers. Your follower doesn't give a fuck how many moves you know.
Yeah.
They do not care how many moves you know. Mm-hmm. I've had some of the best dances ever where I do basics, crossbody leads, inside turn the whole time. But it's the fact that I'm connecting with the music and connecting with the person I'm dancing with that makes the difference. I'm gonna get some big clap back for this. Cha-Cha is not danced on one.
Damn.
I will fight anyone on that. Cha-Cha is not danced on one. Cha-Cha is danced on 2.
Y'all, welcome back to the Why We Move podcast. It's your host Ricardo, here with Giovanni, the Mambo dancer here in Philly. He's been dancing since he was 9 years old. I'm not going to give your age out, but you're now in your 20s and you've been dancing a hot minute. So
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, my man.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're lucky to have you, man. I think you have a lot of good insight, a lot of obviously experience on the dance floor, and I think it's about time we have you on the podcast to share your insights, your tips, your tricks, and what you're working on.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get going. And real quick, just shout out to Maddie as well, going on tour and then coming back and being up for this podcast and then going to work. Like, come on, dude. Like, I love you, man. Thank you so much. And of course, I start every episode off with the same question. And so, Giovanni Escobar, why do you move?
Whew. Why do I move? I guess for a purpose. I feel like that would be the best way for me to put it. I've been doing it for so long, I feel like it's more a part of me than anything else. If you had to put my life out there, more than half of my life I've been dancing.
Oh, wow.
So it's the biggest part of me that I've, out of anything I've ever done.
Yeah. And how did you get started?
That's actually a funny story. I always crack up when I tell this story. So I started dancing when 9 years old. I believe it's in August, it'll be 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I was twice as long as me. That's crazy, dude.
18 years I've been doing this. Yeah, in Philly the whole time. 18 years. So when I was 9 years old, every year they do the Hispanic Fiesta at Penn's Landing. This year they're doing it in JFK.
When is that?
They're doing it the end of June this year.
Oh,
but they usually do it in like July. But the past 2 years they've been doing it the end of June.
Okay, good to know.
Big festival actually. They do live bands, they do all that stuff. It's massive performances and all that. Awesome. So when I was about that age, my mom took me down there, and there was a group named Grupo Fuego Dance Company. It was a little like street team in the city that they traveled all throughout the city. They went to congresses, things like that. So they did a performance, and then they handed out flyers at the end to sign up for their next semester, they would call it for us. Mm-hmm. So my mom gave me the flyer and said, "You're overweight. I need you to move." Oh, shit. Yes. You need to get out of the house. So we're gonna put you in dance. Damn. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. I don't want to dance. Oh my God, Mom! Really making me do this?
That's fucked up, Mom.
So I was a little chubby kid growing up, and she was like, "I need you to be active. I need you to start dancing. You're gonna start doing this like ASAP." So,
wow.
Yeah.
And so you got into the team. You started doing it.
Yeah. So basically, when there was the after school program, it was called STEP. It was Students Tackling Education Program. So it was the group that. It was the student team or the kids team, basically, of Grupo Fuego. It was there was kids classes, there was teens classes, and all that stuff. So basically, we would do it all year round. We would have 2 big shows a year, like I said, congresses and stuff like that. So I pretty much started dancing, performing. That was the first thing I did, was performing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. So It's interesting because like you're out socially now quite a bit. Do you still perform?
I took a break for a little bit, but catch me soon. Coming back to the stage very, very soon. So
okay, is it gonna be at this end of June show?
The end of June show. No, well, even before that. So I have a dance team now, Sigilo dancers. We're doing our debut routine June 21st. So,
hey, where at?
It's a Top Hat Dance Studio in the Northeast Philly. So
hey, let's go, guys. If you're out in that area, if you're here on the East Coast, make sure to check it out. Okay, give these guys some love. That's crazy, man. That's it's a funny story.
It cracks people up every time.
Yo, but like, respect to your mom, right? Like, cause like
love my mom.
Now
shout
you're,
out my mom.
yeah. shout out to all the moms out there, putting us out there, making us sweat, making us like push our boundaries for sure. But now you're 18 years in dancing, and like, so tell me, I'm curious. I lead a lot with these kinds of questions because I think it's insight, really good information that people, regardless of your dancing level, from beginner all the way to advanced, can learn something from these episodes with people. But I want to kind of go off, in random order of these questions. But 18 years of dancing now, can you boil down the most important lessons you've learned along the way?
The most important lesson I have learned, especially in a dance setting, and I try to instill it in the people that I teach, is the fundamentals are key. Mm-hmm. And it boils down even to our personal lives and things like that. Just the basics, just getting down to the basics and the fundamentals are very, very important. I tell people all the time, you can tell how good a dancer is by their basic step. If you could just tell just by their basic step alone how good of a dancer someone is.
That's some fire knowledge right there, man. Yeah, it all goes down to the basics. It's always down to the basics. You know? It's I saw a quote the other day. I'm butchering it a little bit, but it was the beginner dancer wants to do all the crazy turn patterns and tricks and lifts and all this stuff, and the most advanced dancer just wants to really hone down their basic. Hey man, dude, let's put that on a shirt. Yo, honestly though, I think that's a common theme I've heard across a lot of people who I bring on the show, and just like people I talk to on the dance scene about it, is like, and just like talk everywhere, right? Like everyone on their path to mastery, I think when they start to understand like this is a passion that they want to dive into, they understand that it's not the flashiness, it's not how you look, it's not, even just like the fancy footwork patterns that you can take. It's really about being present in the most basic form of what a dance is, which is your basic step.
Yeah, I definitely, even going back to like when I'm teaching, I make it a point to tell my leaders specifically, your follower doesn't give a fuck how many moves you know.
Yeah.
They do not care how many moves you know. Mm-hmm. I've had some of the best dances ever where I do basics, crossbody leads, inside turn the whole time. But it's the fact that I'm connecting with the music and connecting with the person I'm dancing with that makes the difference. You can know every single move, you could take every single class, but if you're not connecting with the person you're dancing with, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah. Amen, dude. And I saw you last Friday at FDR Park, dude. I think I even bore witness. Whatever, I witnessed that. And I saw you having the most fun, the most just like smiling, positive energy with people. And like FDR Park, not really throwing any shade out there, but it attracts a lot of people. There was, I think, 300 people last Friday, which is crazy.
Shout out to Val. That thing was wild. Dude, it was amazing.
Honestly, Val, thank you for putting those on. But it attracts a lot of people because even just like I noticed, the venue across the street or across the park, that was a wedding. I think people were coming from there to come dance with us.
I was actually coming from the Phillies game.
Oh, you were coming from?
I was coming from the Phillies game, and I walked straight from the Phillies game, obviously, just right through the park and just came right over. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, and I guess a lot of people too. There was just a lot of people there. But it was so interesting because a lot of obviously beginner dancers coming and trying to enjoy the night, and there was a lot of people who were more intermediate, advanced, or maybe beyond beginners who were there trying to like coordinate and like help people bring their first experience of dancing a good one. And I saw you out there, man, and it was really cool to see that you were lighting up with everybody who you were dancing with, even if it was just a basic or an attempt at a basic, because some people just you know what I mean. It's just like it's hard to follow that as a beginner dancer. But I think it's a very important thing to hold on to, and so I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, it's definitely when you think of it in two cents, obviously you think of it as just a people person. And then it goes into kind of the business aspect of it all at the same time, because it's like everyone's first impression is the most important impression. So I remember specifically dancing with someone I've never seen them before a day in my life. One of my kind of friends, he's one of my students. He's taken my class a couple of times. He asked me to dance for him. I'm like, of course. And you could just tell the joy people have when you're just not only making sure they feel comfortable, but just having a smile on your face matters so much. Just a simple smile makes the difference between someone feeling very comfortable dancing with you versus them feeling not comfortable dancing with you the entire time. So yeah, smiles matter.
Absolutely, man. Smiles matter. Again, another thing we got to put on a shirt, bro.
Smiles matter.
That's cool, man. Well, thank you for sharing your story and those insights. I think it coming from somebody like you who's had quite the experience already under their belt, but also is a leader in the industry, is a knowledge professional, as an instructor. I hope people, I know people are going to walk away from this episode understanding that this goes deep. Yeah. You can see it on a post, on a graphic on Instagram or social, but it coming from the voices of people who are committed to making a difference in the community, I think matters. So once again, thank you honestly for coming onto the podcast, because your insight and your conversation here matters. Yeah. Let's move on to the next question. You ready?
Let's do it.
It's going to be a pop quiz question. What's the color of my underwear?
Ooh, I'm going to go with pink and yellow polka dots.
Oh, damn. No, I left that one at home. That's my Tuesday one. Today's Monday. Next question. It looks like from what you're telling me, you started performing when you first started dancing. And now you're an instructor and you teach social dance, but you also perform still. Yeah. I'm curious to hear your perspective, because you kind of dabble in both worlds, and it seems like you've been dabbling in both for the last 18 years. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
So what makes social dance different from performative or, performative dance?
One of the big things is the pressure. There's not that big of a pressure if you quote unquote mess up in social dance. I don't really like to say the word mess up, because it's a social dance. You don't mess it up. Just if you miss a hand, you're not messing up. You just missed a hand. It's a part of the dance. It's a freestyle. How you gonna mess up a freestyle? It's in the word. You're free.
Improv.
It's improv, exactly. So it's one of the big things is the pressure isn't there. At least the pressure shouldn't be there, I should say. Some people put a little more pressure than I think they should. That's one big thing. Connection matters more. It's easier to teach two people the pattern and they help each other versus trying to connect with someone you probably never met before in a social dance.
Interesting.
So it's how can I make this person feel comfortable for 3 minutes if these are the first 3 minutes I ever saw them before, versus I'm rehearsing with this person for months and years. This person better know when I sneeze and when I'm at home and they're texting me like, oh, did you just fart? Like, how do you know this? They better know that because I've been rehearsing with them for 3-4 years now. Right. So it's the pressure definitely, and just the connection, the way you need to connect between social dancing and performing really matters too. So
yeah, absolutely. It's it's almost like a relationship you build with somebody. Yes. I mean, like that, it's like friendship. Oh yes. If it's platonic, whatever it is, it's something that I'm sure you give a lot of trust in that person and that person back to you. Yeah. And it's interesting, I think, to kind of what you said, like to the point and to echo that, like in a social dance, it's a stranger and you're trusting them for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe 8 minutes if it's a long ass salsa song, But
damn bands.
Yeah, I think Kayla on one of the podcasts said, if it's a live band, forget it. It's all night. But yeah, it's very interesting to hear, and just the difference, because I think a lot of people, when they start, they want to perform. Yeah. I think that's a very unique part of you that you can express if you've never had that limelight growing up. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I recommend, even if it's just one time, just do it, because it's something. It's like a bucket list. It's like a dance bucket list item, like perform one time. Whether it's you're doing a performance team, whether you audition for an actual team, whether you're those performance challenges where you just take 4 hours out of one day, you learn a quick routine, and then you do it that night type of things. I definitely recommend performing at least one time. Yeah. Ever.
Awesome. No, that's great advice. Great advice. Definitely. it also, I think, boosts your confidence like crazy, you know, because like if you can get, it's like public speaking, I think. If you can get up in front of a crowd and show whatever skill you've like put time and practice into, and you're able to just kind of walk away from that, like knowing that you did that like fills you up with so much energy, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
Let's talk about the misconceptions of dance, and let's make it and tailor it more specifically to the dance styles that you like to dance to. So, what are those, and what are maybe some common misconceptions that people might think about them?
I dance all three major styles: salsa on one, salsa on two. There's a reason why I separate those two, and then bachata. I heavily cater towards the mambo crowd per se, but I started on one. I started dancing when I danced on one pretty much almost my entire a little more than half of my dance career before I jumped to on two. And then I pretty much just try to cater to on two as much as possible, learn as much on two as possible from here. And I still teach all on one, bachata and mambo. I teach it all. So
nice. Yeah. So let's start with maybe salsa on one, since it was your origin dance. What are some common misconceptions? And I'm sure like it kind of dabbles in all of them, but what are some common misconceptions that people think about salsa on one or salsa on two, or wherever you want to go into in this question? And, you know, the common myths that are talked about with dancing.
Just salsa in general, I feel like sometimes a very big common misconception is that it's too hard.
Okay, yeah.
It's too hard. A lot of times people go to bachata a little easier because they feel like it is easier. Everything's easy if you practice it. If you train something, the point is to feel uncomfortable no matter what you're doing. It's not supposed to be easy off the bat. Everything's supposed to be difficult when you start it. If it's easy, good for you. I struggled when I first started. If it comes second nature to you from the very beginning, I need to learn from you how you learn how to do that.
Or big middle finger now. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Put that on a shirt. It's in a sense of like on one and on two. I feel like a common misconception is just on two is kind of harder to learn in a sense versus everything else, because we're so, as Philly, we're mainly bachata on one city, so everyone pretty much learns on one first. I feel like, me personally, if you learn on two, it makes your on one even easier. Because on two, you're really honing down your instruments and how to listen to why am I dancing to this? Versus just a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Why am I listening to a trumpet right now? What is this trumpet telling me to do? What is this conga telling me to do? What is this clave telling me to do? Why do I dance a specific type of dance to a clave versus a conga versus the bass? And things like that. I feel like learning on two and really learning mambo. Okay, there's between salsa on two and mambo. Salsa on two is the wide band of it. Mambo is just like a subgenre of salsa on two. Salsa on two consists of your mambo, your cha-cha. Cha-cha is technically on two. You dance cha-cha on two. Cha-cha does not get danced on one. I'm gonna get clapped back for this. I'm gonna get some big clap back for this. Cha-cha is not danced on one. Damn. I will fight anyone on that. Cha-cha is not danced on one. Cha-cha is danced on two in the style we dance, in ballroom, any type of way you go. Cha-cha is danced on two. There's no such thing as cha-cha on one. The more you guys do cha-cha on one, I'm gonna start dancing bachata on two. Okay, stop dancing cha-cha on one. I'm gonna point that out.
This man just opened up Pandora's box. You're about to piss off half my viewers here.
Cha-cha, mambo is a style. Son is a style. You can even dig deeper into like your Afro-Cubans and your guaguancos and things like that. And it's such a big genre. That's one of the things that really I'm a nerd for on two, because there's so much to dig deep into it. And the music, all the music is different once you learn those instruments. And then once you learn those instruments, you're gonna understand your on one even better. And you'll even understand your bachata even better, because all those instruments are still doing the same thing. So I feel like a big misconception with on two is, I don't want to learn how to do that. Why do I need to learn how to do that for? Why not?
Yeah, people get comfortable.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. I remember forever ago, We just had a conversation. We're very blunt people. I'm not gonna say any names or anything like that, but I posted something on Facebook. It was a while ago, and I remember someone commented on it. What's wrong with being comfortable?
Ooh.
What? Everything. Everything's wrong with being comfortable. Why do we want to be comfortable? We go through life being comfortable. That's not how we progress. And it was funny because it was actually a post about on too. So it's be uncomfortable, learn, always learn, especially when it comes to if you really want to hone any type of craft, you need to understand the music of it because everything is telling you something different. Every instrument is literally speaking to you in different ways. So it's definitely something that I think is a misconception with on two. It's just people just think it's either too hard, think the on two dances are a cult. And just it's not worth learning.
Yeah, that's so interesting, man. There's a lot to dig deep. I think that in itself requires a whole season of conversation. You know, I think there's a lot that goes into that. I want to follow up with this question because this is like I love that we're getting into this because I know you are very passionate about it. I see it on your posts and everything, and I have an interesting viewpoint, which it actually came from one of my friends who doesn't dance. He's a videographer friend of mine. Shout out Kenny. We were speaking yesterday at a park, just like a Rittenhouse Square Park. We're both very busy individuals, either between client projects, running our own companies or doing our own podcasts. We do pretty much very similar things, except he doesn't dance. And we were on the topic about pushing yourself to like have this hustle mentality and also try to balance the realm of like actually being okay with whatever it is that's happening around you. Like the whole concept of life happening for you versus to you kind of thing, you know? And I think people who want to get better, who are very passionate, who are like hungry and have that fire underneath them, I think all the merrier for them. People who really love to dance one style and whatnot, honestly, I can't hate because I wish I had the mentality to not want to learn everything, but at the same time, I don't because I really like what I do and pursuing higher education and whatever it is that I'm doing, dancing, videography, exercise, all that stuff. But I no longer think like, okay, if people are being complacent in their technique, that's a whole nother thing, right? Like if they're being complacent, they're being lazy, like that's a whole nother topic. But I think if people just want to dance one dance, I'm like, cool, whatever. But I also understand though that like if we all don't improve, like the community kind of stays stagnant in a way.
Everything starts to get really stale.
Yeah.
That goes with everything, whether it's the dancing, whether it's the music. Like you want your DJs to whip out new stuff all the time because it just goes to show not only are they trying to attract people to continue to stay dancing where it's, mind you, they're the ones that are giving us that outlet to dance. You know, a lot of times the DJs are 9 times out of 10 the organizers. So they're giving us that outlet to dance. They're giving us the music to express ourselves. So when you don't want your DJs to just be playing the same 3 songs every time and then it gets a little stale. So it works the same with our DJs, with our instructors. You know, as an instructor, I'm still a student. I teach, but I'm still a student. You know, you don't want your instructors to just teach you the same 3 moves over and over again. You don't want as a dancer, you want to always learn because there's so many different styles, right? Just because bachata is not really my cup of tea. I was literally just having a conversation with someone how I want to venture into learning a little more traditional bachata. So we always want to be more students because at the end of the day, all the dances feed into each other. So I learned a little more traditional bachata. It's going to help me in my salsa. A lot of my salsa is going to help me in my bachata.
Love that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think on multiple episodes in the past, I've talked to guests about the disciplines kind of coming in and feeding off each other, much like I compare it a lot to mixed martial arts. When I started with boxing when I first started mixed martial arts, and then I moved into Muay Thai and then Muay Thai to Jiu-Jitsu. But I would circle and I would like notice that my jiu-jitsu got better, or at least my footwork on my takedowns, because I had footwork from boxing, and then my stance and my grounding got better in Muay Thai because of my boxing, and then like all around, you know. And I think it's the same thing with dancing. I think like to your point, your salsa on two. There's a lot of and I think this goes for a lot of dances too, like not just technique or like certain aspects of the dances that kind of feed off each other, but even like moves, right? Like a crossbody lead, you can take certain principles from salsa and put it to bachata. Yeah. And it's
mind you, there are bachata crossbody lead. There is a move.
Yes.
And it takes the same fundamentals. Again, going back to fundamentals are key. Technique is technique at the end of the day. Whether you're transferring it into salsa or bachata or foxtrot or waltz, technique is technique. Frame is frame. Everything derives from everything. I remember I actually saw something the other day, just even going back even further, where I don't know if you maybe have saw a post of an instructor. I can't remember where he's from, but he was explaining the term shine.
Is the guy from Germany?
I don't know.
You gotta link me this.
I got you. He was explaining the word shine. And actually, someone, Ryan Brown's Test Kitchen, shout out Brown's Test Kitchen. He actually sent me this the other day.
Word.
He was explaining how shine, people, if you say, "Oh, do a shine," what am I telling you to do?
Do my thing.
Like footwork and like kind of you separate yourself so I can do a shine.
Right.
The term shine comes from back when salsa first started and these live bands and things like that. They're trumpet players, and a lot of the background players were African Americans who danced jazz. And with jazz, they had a term shine, where make the floor shine. Like do a shine. Make the floor shine with your feet.
Okay.
With you're busting out all your moves and shine like that. So it's.
I thought it was from like the saliva coming out. And like
it's all shine. No, it comes from like because they're busting out their jazz moves, they're busting out tap and things like that, and it's make the floor shine.
Interesting. I never knew that. Yeah. Wow. Very cool.
Put it on a shirt.
That's awesome. No, thank you for dropping that knowledge, man. I can tell you have a lot of wisdom in you, and kind of to what you said about earlier about you being like a nerd about it. I desire that too. I want to like learn more about the dance. Like I'm guilty of being complacent in my central bachata and my salsa on one. And since moving here about a year and some odd months and like 8 months ago, because I'm on the East Coast naturally, like there's more on two than it is on the West Coast. Yeah. But really diving.
You're coming from Portland, correct?
Yeah, Portland, Oregon.
You're with one of the best on two dances in the world over there.
Oh, are you talking about lines? Yeah, Benny and Brandon. Yeah, Benny and Brandon. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've never taken lessons from them. They're like really far out. But shout out to them. Maybe when I come back in Portland. And
two people I definitely look up to a lot. Benny and Brandon. Yeah.
Yeah, they're crazy dancers.
Wild.
But as of recently, I've just been like really feeling more on two than I have been on one for the last 7 years of dancing before that. And I've been having these conversations on this podcast, and just the side, on the dance floor with other people, just about really digging deep into the history of it all. And I'm curious, like, what is the main insight that you can give to people when they're starting to dance, maybe beginning to dance, who probably could use some kind of education around what is dancing and where the dance comes from? Like, maybe drop the best piece of advice that you can give people.
Learn the music. Is probably the best thing that I would say. It's because, we'll take it into on two for a sense. I break anything in my intro classes or anything that I break it down into. There's two things you need to do before you even move. You need to count, and then you need to find your music.
Hopefully, you count up to 8 right now.
Hopefully up to 8. You can even miss numbers.
Yeah,
you can we don't need the 4. Right. We don't need the 8. Technically, we only need the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
But if you learn how to count to your music on time, big one, on time, and then understanding where your counts coincide with your music, right? Because on two, for instance, we follow the congas. Where is your count relative to your congas? You won't know that unless you really understand what your congas are telling you to do, right? Your congas give you it's a specific rhythm. It's always the same rhythm. It might differentiate every now and again, but the rhythm never changes. So you wouldn't know that unless you don't understand your music, right? It's kind of like you have to go understand your music, then figure out your numbers, and then go back to your music. So you know what you're listening to, right? Because a lot of times there's an app, love it, Salsa Rhythm it's called. I don't know if you ever had it before. It's like a $4 you can find it on the App Store, where you can break it to every single instrument.
Oh.
You can add numbers. You can, like, if you only want a 2 and a 6 with a conga, and then you can change the tempo if you need to.
Damn.
So there's times I've spent an hour just that, a conga and a 2 and a 6.
Hey.
I'll turn off the numbers. Keep doing it.
Yo.
I turn the numbers back on. Are you still on? Because you really need to understand the music of it all. The music is the most important thing, because without the music, we wouldn't have the dance. The music, listen to your music, understand your music. What is your music's talking to you in terms of your instruments, not the lyrics per se, but the instruments are talking to you. They're telling you to do certain things. Pay attention to that. That's the best thing I could probably tell anyone starting, because it doesn't matter if you're dancing bachata, if you're dancing on one or on two, because if with bachata you have your three different main styles of bachata, while the basic rhythm is the same, all three of them are telling you to do different things. Versus you're on two music versus you're on one music, it's the same rhythm, but they're telling you to do different things. Yeah, the music is the most important thing.
I was just telling a friend of mine who I went to FDR Park with about that there's, like, you almost feel it differently in the music when you're dancing on two versus on one. It's so interesting. Like, I had a friend way back when tell me about that, and that's when it clicked for me, and I was like, oh shit, like, there's more to this. There's like depth.
Yeah, the best way I explain it to people is, on two, your stars are the musicians. On one, the star is the singer. When you're dancing on two, you're following everything underneath what this person is saying to you.
That makes a lot of sense. Wow.
So that's the big thing. Is, like you said, with on two, you're really digging really deep into those instruments, and you're really, really listening to those instruments, because that's where you're going to find that on two. Versus on one, a lot of times, I actually learned this from Mike Andino Estilo. One of the big things that helped me with timing is, you're on one. A lot of times, your one is always going to be the highest note that the singer sings.
Oh, okay.
So if you really pay attention to the highest note of the song, or if there's no lyrics, it's going to be the highest note from the instruments. That's always your one.
Damn. There's like Morse code to this, guys. Like, I'm telling you, it's a language for the people who speak tongues out here.
Yes,
except with our bodies. You know? It's crazy, man. That's
like,
so
what is
cool.
that? The Harry Potter parcel tongue, but for dancers.
Parcel tongue, exactly. Yo, there we go. Parcel tongue dances on the shirt. Here we go, guys. Merch is coming soon, y'all. That's incredible, man. I got to pick your brain more on this, man. This is very interesting. Okay. I know you already shared a lot of insight about, just the crazy gems that you're dropping. But if you could boil that all down to, the key to becoming a better social dancer, perhaps not a performer, but just to keep it in the realm of social dancing, what do you believe is that cornerstone to become a better social dancer?
Honestly, just have fun.
Ooh, okay.
Like, we get so we get so wrapped up into the turn patterns, or like I saw the other one the other day with what's his name for Central City. I'm blanking.
Oh, Yats and Joe?
Yeah, so Joe with 8 moves. We get so wrapped up in our 8 moves.
I was dead, dude.
that we just forget to have fun sometimes. Like, it's a social dance. It's meant to be social. It's meant to have fun. It's meant to connect. The big word is connect. Always connect, connect, connect. But we're not doing any of that if we're not having fun. Like, just even if you smile, the moment you smile, it changes your entire mood. You could be having the worst day ever. Just put a smile on your face, it changes everything.
It's amazing.
Just have fun. That's the biggest thing I could say.
That's incredible, man. Yeah. And maybe just add one more move to the 8 and you're at 9 and then you're good.
And then you're like set. Just a solid 9 moves would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's an odd number, so like they can't count.
They
and then
can't,
they'll get out.
Especially if you just like start mixing them up, like it's endless.
That's a great tip. Absolutely a great tip. And we kind of skipped this question, but I think I do want to get into this. Out of the past 18 years, are there any specific challenges or obstacles you faced on this journey of dance that, like kind of maybe stopped you in your tracks, and how did you overcome those?
This is going to ruffle some more feathers. Inclusivity.
Okay, go in.
I honestly, sometimes, and this is dance in general, this is no matter where you go, it starts to turn less into what can I most learn from this person, and more of, this is the most popular person here, so this is the person I'm going to go to.
Oh, shit. I've been trying to speak on this for the longest time, man.
So like there's a lot of people have so much to teach and they get no support because they're not one of the popular people to learn from or at this social or there's socials where they don't really get many people. Again, I'm going to shout out Val, for instance. That vinyl night is amazing.
Love that, dude.
That vinyl night is amazing. But there's sometimes a misconception of vinyl that some people may not like it. Mind you, you got Mark Anthony on vinyl. You got Bachata on vinyl. It's but just the sound of vinyl makes the difference.
It is, dude. Yeah, it does. It really does.
So I feel like just inclusivity is something that definitely happens a lot. And I just, honestly, I stopped giving a fuck. That's how I overcame it. Like, I know what I got. I know what I can do. I have a core group of people that know what I can do. And to me, if they want to learn from me or if they want to come to my events or if they want to do that, that's all that matters to me. I don't care about quantity. I care about quality at the end of the day.
It's beautiful, man. Yeah, shout out from the fucking rooftops because all these like popular, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of high school, dude.
Oh
it's
my
drama,
God, it's so bad.
It's so bad.
High school wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, I know. It's just like we're adults now. Like, yeah, come on. Like, we
so
can't learn.
Sometimes. Like,
yeah. No, but I really like what you said. I think, you know, I'm on a mission with this podcast and what I'm building with Why We Move to bring and vet people who are making waves on and off the dance floor who deserve that, I think, because... And I'm not saying like all these other people who are popular don't, you know, definitely there's some high grade people out there who are like legit in their foundation and are popular too. 100%. But I think there are definitely a mix of folks who just do it for the wrong reasons. And I think the people who are doing it for the right reasons don't get the credit. And so, you know, maybe this is a shout out to everybody who's watching and listening. If you want to nominate somebody or if you know somebody who's doing this, who kind of fits that description, please DM me, send me a message, get a hold of me to get them on the podcast and tell their story because that's what this podcast is about. There's nothing that matters more to me than shouting people who are doing the right thing in the right ways as best as they can 100%. And putting 100% of their effort in it. And 100%. I think I see it in you, I see it in Ryan, I see it in all the people who I've interviewed on this podcast, and I hope to get more of you guys. So enough of that tangent. Let's kind of wrap this up finally, but outside of dancing, what occupies your time?
Well, full-time job. I'm in the automotive mechanic field. Currently, I work with ADAS calibration specifically. So basically, if you get into a car accident and God forbid you ever get into a car accident, and you hit in the rear and it messes up your blind spot, you know, that's a safety feature. My job is after everything gets replaced is to make sure all that functions properly.
Oh wow!
So that's kind of what I do there. I love sports, baseball, love baseball. I just try to hang out. I'm a homebody. I love being home. Yeah. I try to be home as much as possible.
Nice. You have to, like with the social battery that gets drained when you're out dancing.
Yes. I'm an extroverted, like introvert in a sense. Like I'm a people person. I love being out amongst people, but sometimes I'm like, I just want to be home.
I relate, man. I definitely relate. That's awesome. Thank you again for being on the podcast. I'd love to shout you out on all the platforms. How can people find you online? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever you.
Yeah, definitely. So Instagram, I use mostly Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, just my name, Giovanni Escobar. Instagram, I have two. So it's Giovanni E, 3 underscores. That is my personal one. And then my Sigalo Dancers page is Sigalo PHL.
Any final comments or anything else you'd like to share?
No, thank you for having me. It was good. It was fun.
Yeah,
I liked it. It was a good time. Good conversation.
Absolutely, man. No, I've definitely enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing all the insight that you have, not only with me, but everybody who's watching and listening. Again, I think this is a story that's worth telling, worth sharing. And if you missed this episode, y'all, like you got to go back and replay this because there's...
Or else you're also going to be charged $10 a month until you watch it. So.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to start that Patreon.
Right now, right? Once we're done here, we're starting that.
But anyways, man, Giovanni, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Can't wait to support all the events and see you guys perform in June. I'll definitely be
June 21st, Sigalo Dancers debut.
Let's go. Hey. And with that, y'all, thanks again for tuning in to the Why We Move podcast. It's been a very special episode. If you see us out dancing, save us a dance. Hey.